Well, back in March when East Tennessee State was playing in the NCAA tournament, they drew Florida. So we had on Adam Silverstein of Only Gators to break down the game, which eventually resulted in the Florida Gators coming from behind from a second half deficit to win by 15 and go all the way to the Elite Eight. Now, we're wondering here about this hole that the Florida football team is digging themselves into, much to the delight of many Tennessee fans, with, well, Antonio Callaway. Antonio Callaway. This is a man who, along with, I think, 6 other players, if you can give me the exact number, that'd be great, against Michigan, which is the opening day opponent for the Florida Gators this year, Adam Silverstein of OnlyGators.com. But I think that a lot of people, including David Whitley of the Orlando Sentinel, have asked, why is this guy still in college with the rap sheet that he's putting up? And I guess I just want to ask, how big is Callaway to the Florida football program? Do you think that they can actually beat Michigan without him on opening day?
Yeah, I don't think there's really any doubt that Florida could beat Michigan without him. He has been an important player for this team, more so the last 2 years than this year. The Gators really struggled with having playmakers on their roster. With Will Muschamp, he just did not recruit the type of offensive playmakers that you really need to be successful in college football. And Jim McElwain comes in year one, recruits this kid as a 3-star prospect, and he's been extremely special ever since. So he was really important to the team the last 2 years. What McElwain's done since is he's recruited a bunch of those guys. So there's a ton of playmakers at the wide receiver and running back position for the Gators. And Callaway's important, therefore, is not what it was previously. So I think he's replaceable in this game. It's tough to say that they're going to replace every single ounce of his, ability, but they can 75% replace what Callaway, brings to the table in that game. And to answer your other question, why is he still in school? Why is he still able to play college football? Here's the truth. Nothing that he has done, he has been arrested for. He got a citation for marijuana, probation. Didn't go to jail, didn't do anything for that. He got accused of sexual assault. The police thought there was nothing to investigate, thought the woman was either fibbing or just there wasn't any proof or whatever the case might be. Florida Title IX didn't even charge him with something for the school. And then this happened, and he did something wrong, violated university policy, but there's no criminal charges against him. So there's a lot of things that college football players do that are really, really bad that they stay on teams for. Assault, one way or the other that they're actually charged and arrested for, and other things like that. For Antonio Callaway, he's gotten in trouble, but he hasn't necessarily been dinged with anything, in a major way.
Okay, and I'm not trying to put a holier-than-thou attitude, Florida, Tennessee, or any school for that matter. I mean, let's face it. Tennessee has had players that have left the football program and then gone on to kill people. So we understand that. But nevertheless, I mean, you sort of are talking about, let's just go to that sexual assault thing. He was suspended for the spring practice. His defense was, man, I was so stoned, I wasn't interested in having sex with anyone. He was, and again, this might not be a crime, but he was busted for marijuana possession while riding in an SUV with a notorious figure by the name of Kendrick Williams, who has a long rap sheet of himself and was about twice as old as Callaway. And now, and I know that 7 players, Callaway and 6 others, were suspended for the opening game, but they reportedly used their funds from their scholarships to buy electronics and then reported that the cards had been stolen. I mean, I can remember years and years ago under Phil Fulmer, a phone card situation at Tennessee that got, a lot of embarrassment for the program, if you will. As you know, I did think this was the line of the year by David Whitley. It's become painfully apparent Callaway'd rather be hanging out with career criminals than psychics professors. So if that's deep enough, is it time maybe for them to say, okay, you know what, you aren't really interested in psychics professors. You have a chance to be a real bad apple here and a bad influence. Maybe it's best that you just, hold out for the NFL draft when that comes around. Thank you for your service, Mr. Callaway.
Yeah, I mean, what you're listing is a lot of really bad, stupid, potentially criminal things kicked off of teams for doing things that are wrong. You could accuse me of sexual assault, or you could accuse me of murdering.
Oh, sure.
If I didn't, but if I didn't do it, then why should I get in trouble for it just because you accused me? So I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know whether he did these things. But what I can tell you is you don't kick someone off a college football team for being stupid unless that person being stupid results in something that gives you a reason to kick them off the team. So I think he should have been disciplined harder earlier. I think he should have been suspended games previously. I think he should have been suspended for this Michigan game before this stuff happened, and this recent stuff happening probably should have resulted in another game or two suspended. So I don't disagree with any of that. There should have been harsher punishment for him. Where I disagree is with people saying, you should kick this kid off the team. Well, no. I mean, there's reasons to kick players off teams, and Jim McElwain's not going to kick a guy, his star playmaker, off the team just because he associated with the wrong person and, admitted to smoking pot as a defense for being accused of committing sexual assault. I think if anyone asked you, hey, did you commit sexual assault? And your excuse was, hey, I was high at the time. I had no interest in it, and here's why, and blah, blah, blah. I think you'd rather say, hey, I'm a pot smoker than, hey, I sexually assaulted a woman.
I understand that, yes. I still, it's somewhat another behavior that many would consider to be unethical. And like I said, it's a less than satisfying, excuse. I am... I'm very anti-drug, Adam. I mean, I've never smoked marijuana. I'm not going to. I don't understand the appeal whatsoever. And I know that people are getting a little lax on this, but I have known professional baseball players whose careers ended, and guys who were in the minor leagues, cut outright when they were caught smoking pot. That was, several years ago at the beginning of the century. And I know that we've gotten more liberal in our ideals since then on it, but I do know it has happened, and not that long ago. I'm talking to Adam Silverstein. He writes for OnlyGators.com. He's breaking down Antonio Callaway for us, who's been suspended for Michigan. How long do you think these suspensions of Callaway and the other 6 players could last? Do you think any of them could be held out of even the Tennessee game?
I would be surprised if it lasted through Tennessee, but I would not be surprised if it lasted 2 weeks. And these players missed that second game against Northern Colorado. I think when you look at college football punishment history, usually players get suspended for the first game. It's not a big game, and everyone makes fun of that. So in that sense, I think you can say, well, if you're really trying to punish these kids, especially Callaway, hold him out for another game that, to be candid, doesn't really affect you. Florida's not losing to Northern Colorado, and then get him back for Tennessee. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's extended, but I think Monday of Tennessee week, Antonio Callaway will be practicing on the field and getting ready to play in that game.
Oh, we'll see what happens there. Now, we've got a minute left. I just want to ask, blowing the 21-0 lead to Tennessee last year, how devastating was that to Florida? I know they came back and won the SEC East, but I kind of felt like, does Florida still have, the way they lost this game, Tennessee's number year after year? Is there still a feeling of dominance over Tennessee after that game?
I think it's certainly been lessened. When you have that kind of streak, I think it was 11 seasons, or I don't remember. When you have that kind of streak, you feel superior, and now they know they're not. When you lose a game like that in that fashion, you automatically get your confidence and your ego knocked down a peg. But I think in terms of Florida fans and in terms of the players, they still see themselves as, the more superior team and the team that should be favored when these two teams square off. Certainly, I think some would look at it as, not that I believe this, but some might say, oh, that was kind of fluky, and, it took one of the best corners, a first-round pick, or a second-round pick, flipping, to give up one of the touchdowns. That never happens, blah, blah, blah.
Adam, I got to go here. I want to thank you here, but the way they got conservative, I'd be worried about that.